be calling you radicals. So, as you know, the narrative is going crazy on California, Oregon completely closing this season on the Chinook salmon. And everybody's saying drought rivers, drought, which is bullshit. It's totally, they're not dying in the river. I think these people actually think they live in rivers. They live here. They live here. And this is important. This historic crash in the salmon started when the meltdowns happened. Now, steelhead go to sea 1 to 2 years. The first time back, they're half pounders. I says they'll start to crash immediately. Now, remember, we had record returns. Record. The Kenine, the Fraser, the mighty Columbia, which is gigantic. Salmon do not live in rivers. They live here, including steelhead. So we work all the way down the Rogue. What a catastrophe it's turned out to be. All these rivers have turned out to be catastrophes. Jedediah Smith has no dams. They've crashed in symphony with the rest of them, just like the tide pools crashed. Wasting disease. Kevin Lynch does all this historically, where his PhD in human history. This is just exposed who runs this country. So the bridge made it here in what, 6-7 days to Eugene, or you catch my Japanese current North Pacific drift, and when everything wiped up dead here on the Russian Peninsula. And you can hear him say Fukushima. So this mainstream narrative is drought that has nothing to do with the rivers. 0.0 to do with the rivers. We had that's called escapement. We had record escapement in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 17. They don't come back. They're dying here. Any biologist will tell you that Kevin Blanche was right now. They're dying at sea. The escapement is so... You can keep going with this lie and saying, oh, it's the drought. No. It has zero to do with the drought. You can look up the escapement. We have that data out there. Escapement's what? See, salmon are born in these riverbeds. They escape home. I like how the fishing industry calls it the pasture. They call the Pacific Ocean the pasture. So you think it's a coincidence. Fukushima happens to tide pools wasting disease. Fukushima happens to the heat bubble over the western United States, which the heat bubble has done nothing but do this. The heat bubble, Kevin Blanche hypothesis, is going to cause an energy. I'm the only guy that called it meltdowns, and they're full-blown out meltdowns. Took them 4,400 and how many days to come out of denial? They've been pushing these cores into the ocean the whole time. You're still waiting for water to be dumped. They've been pushing water on it the whole entire time. Look, in Japan, the plume came over us for 6 days. Then they started to get water on. The plume shifted. That's when Anderson Van killed Sanjay Gupta came home when they were screaming Fukushima meltdowns. So who took the brunt of the disaster of Fukushima? Japan? Well, they got their share. But the brunt was the ocean. I cannot overstate this. Jet stream moves left to right. Fish swim. The drift. I've always said that you got more nuclear fallout from the Fukushima disaster in New York City, in Los Angeles, California, in Salt Lake City, Utah, in Calgary, Canada, than Tokyo got. Why? Because they pushed it into the ocean. The plume was blowing here for 6 days. Then they got water on it, and they've pushed it in the ocean the entire time. They knew these were cold meltdowns, and then it's been nothing but propaganda lies. So the salmon live here. Now, in science, we call that an outlier. We have all the data. You can't chalk it up to coincidence. You can't. So we know, look, we had record returns on the Kenine. Giant beasts on the Chinooks. Now listen, this is the smoking gun of Fukushima. This is important. The smoking gun of Fukushima. Steelhead go to sea 1 to 2 years. They make 2 trips. They're called half pounders first. We go up and do the test nets, and me and Tim Martin. And they started to collapse immediately in 2012, just like we said. You broke the chain. I mean, big fish eat little fish. So the smoking gun is Chinook. The average Chinook salmon goes to sea for 5 years. Now, I can't overstate this. They had record returns on all these rivers in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Everybody's laughing at me. I thought you said Fukushima. I said, no. They go to sea for 5 years. The first batch back that's affected will be 2016. Will you believe me then? Record returns in 2012, 13, 14, 15. 2016 gets here. The life cam's taken down. Kevin Blanche is classified. And whoa, just like I said, I mean off a cliff. Just like they had 2.8 million returning big old beasts. I'll post a picture of a salmon caught in 2010 right here on the road by Tim Martin in 2010. This is just by number. This isn't even by size. They have radically crashed. The heat bubble, the fires, these type of fires have never happened in the history of mankind. You know, I predicted all that. You know, so you can deny it, but in science you can't call it. I was over at the tennis club yesterday.
Really?
I watched you play.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You were playing Santa Cruz, eh?
Santa Clara, yeah.
Santa Clara. Excuse me, my bad. Santa Clara, that's Steve Nashville's school. Yeah, I was.
Santa Clara?
Yeah, they were a 15 seed. They beat Arizona in the tournament when he went there, when he was a freshman. Yeah, they were a 15 seed. Yeah, that's where he went. He's born in, he's Canadian, but that's where he went to school. It's a little teeny campus.
Yeah.
You guys look good.
They were supposed to beat us.
Yeah, you guys beat the shit out of them. I watched. I was in the little booth there with both of our fans. You guys get a big crowd. Right on. So he's from South Africa. So anyway, you catch my northern drift. So you cannot call it coincidence. You can go along with that all you want. But in science, you can run regression. We have 10 years of model. You can plug it into a computer and you can run regression. Let's do that. So you can run regression and we have the data. So you build a regressionary model on the salmon, on the fires, on the wells. We had record returns. This was one of the great comebacks of the Grays go here. They birth here. They were making giant comes back, like the salmon were. Like the Pacific Ocean was incredibly healthy in 2010, comparably. I mean, this is an acute catastrophe, a collapse. The heat bubble. When did the greatest drought in 1,200 years start? 2011, 2012. It created a heat dome, which I hypothesized. I said, it's going to create a heat dome. Now the heat dome is shifted here. And so the jet stream is, well, we go from record drought for 10 years to record snow. So it's going all the way up and just diving all the way down. You know, it's circling up. So this is unarguable facts, what I'm stating now, because we have the data. So you can plug in regression and it's going to point to 2011. Those are called outliers. It will deviate from the mean a million times. Every bill you build on all these said starfish, fires, drought, salmon, longevity, all of it, it will point to 2011. Okay, so we have to start looking for the culprit. Something radical changed in 2011. Did a meteor strike the Pacific Ocean? Did we get 9 million XL Valdez? 3 core meltdowns, first time in the history of mankind, leg compared to Leslie Stahl in 60 minutes on day 3,000. This is like going to the moon fixing this. Way bigger than that. This has never happened before. Didn't happen at 3 Mile Island. That was one core meltdown they covered up, same guy. Didn't happen at Chernobyl. 800,000 men entombed it. Oh, it happened. It happened, and everything, including the demic, post, you're going to chalk up to coincidence. Not me. I'm not playing that. You know, I'm a real scientist. I had to go rogue. So stop saying they're dying in rivers. They're not dying. It has nothing to do with that. Anybody knows factually that they're dying at sea. They live here. The only time they're ever here is to spawn and to die and to be born. That's it. They're 99% of their life is spent here. Big fish eat little fish. You know. Literally, the weight of the world has been on me fighting this, what I'm up against. It really, do the greatest PhD in human history, Kevin Blanch, March 2011. All great new knowledge will be persecuted. It just proves. For Kevin reached into the stone, he slung the stone. Happy Easter. Happy Easter 2023. So I hope you catch my Japanese Pacific current into the California current. Northern drift. Not to mention the trench. That trench. Now what's the big trench here? Or the course? I named it Del Mar, Argentina syndrome. In April of 2011. There's Del Mar, Argentina. Straight through. Stay tuned.